This is the Wally and Methot Show. Now here are your hosts, Brent Wallace and Mark Methot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Brent Wallace. He's former NHL defenseman Mark Methot. This is episode 22. Now, Matthew, you've got some news to share with us. The World Championships are getting underway on Friday, and you are going to be heading to the Big Smoke to do a little TV work.
Thank you. Yeah, they called me last minute. I don't know if somebody bailed or what had happened, but in any case, I'm taking the opportunity. I'm going to go over and cover a couple games. The first one is Latvia and I believe Kazakhstan. So there's going to be some challenges presenting in front of me here, but you know what? I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to have some fun with it and see how it goes.
I look forward to hearing you pronounce those names. Speaking of the World Championships, and good luck, by the way. Speaking of the World Championships, we have Roberto Luongo on the show today. Of course, he's the general manager of Team Canada. He's also does about 17 jobs for the Florida Panthers, and he's got the Olympics under his belt as well. We're going to talk to him about all those things. We spoke to him just last week before he left for Latvia, and just before he announced Jacob Bernard-Docker was joining the team. But we're going to talk to him about Nick Paul and Connor Brown and lots of other stuff. That is coming up in the chat, quenched by whitewaterbeer.ca. Also on the show today, it's a doubleheader, Matt. Egor Sokolov. So last night, the Belleville Senators win their franchise record 8th straight game. Egor Sokolov, who's the team's leading scorer, is going to join us in the show. We're going to talk to him about the great year he's had, especially the second half. That kid's really turned it around, and he looks like a really good prospect for the Ottawa Senators, and a lot of fun to talk with as well. That's coming up in the interview presented by Faces Magazine. Also, we're going to find out, Matt, who's your winner for tonight's big game between Toronto and Montreal as they get set for their series opener, the first time in 42 years. That's coming up in On the Points, presented by sportsinteraction.com. And one thing I want to talk to you about, I don't know if you've seen this, and so I'm doing some work, a little bit of research work. The last time the Leafs and Habs met was 1979. That's the same year that Guy Lafleur, Hockey Hall of Famer, released an album called Lafleur. It is Guy Lafleur giving hockey instructions over the sound of disco music. Do you have a copy?
No, I do not. So you'll have to fill me in, or I guess I'll end up seeing it on the show. So we'll see how
it's so bizarre.
That sounds hilarious, though. Yeah.
Go to YouTube and watch it. It is phenomenal. I'm like, I don't even know how this would have been presented.
Amazing.
One other note, the Ottawa Senators' former general manager, Rick Dudley, when he was playing with the Buffalo Sabres, he also released a country album that he said. I don't know if anybody ever has a copy of the Rick Dudley country album, but interesting, just some weird, quirky facts. All right.
Cool.
And of course, we have Trivial Trivia coming up with a new sponsor today of Bonesaw Sauce. It is a local hot sauce company. Looking forward to that as well. But first, as always, Matt, let's get to the headlines presented by BEI, Bonnechere Excavating Inc., helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. Check them out at BonnechereExcavating.com. All right, here we go, Matt. Melnick's miscue sends owner goes on podcast and continues to ignore the Ottawa fan base. Captain on the bridge. Melnick says a captain can't be on a bridge deal. What's that mean for Brady Tkachuk? Centralized focus. Melnick also says the team needs a number one center and a top 4D, which is interesting. Jettison. The Jets win game 1 against Edmonton on a busy Wednesday night in the NHL playoffs. And playoff performer. So I want to know, Meth, what the difference is in the regular season to the playoffs. I don't want you just to tell me what the intensity level is like. I want to know what the challenges are and what the changes are that take place. All right. Okay. Let's get to it. I'm going to take this one. Melnick's miscue. So I'm going to go with Bell Media gives the Ottawa Senators over $33 million a year. And Eugene Melnick continues to go on Toronto radio, Toronto podcast. This time it was with Bob McCowan, and continues to talk about his team while ignoring the people that actually put money in his pockets, and not to talk about the people in Ottawa or talk to the fans in Ottawa, and continue to just pretend that they somewhat exist, but we're not really going to talk to them. We're not going to take any questions. He could have easily gone on TSN 1200. He could have gone CFRA. He could have gone on any number of media outlets that are not even Bell owned or anything in Ottawa just to talk, and he doesn't. So he continues to shoot himself in his foot and continues to alienate them. And I don't understand why, as an owner, you would want to do that and not speak to the fan base. And it just blows my mind that he continues to do this and continues to say, I prefer Toronto to all of you, and I'm never going to really be acclimated to Ottawa because it's not where I really want to be.
Well, we should have him on the show.
I asked.
Okay. And what answer did you get?
Yeah, well, we're still waiting. I don't think it's anytime soon. Let's just say that. Okay. We'll move on. Captain on the bridge. So on the same podcast, he says, that they're not going to have a bridge deal and name captain if that's the case. So Brady Tkachuk, as we all know, is an RFA. His deal's coming up. So he said, quote, "I think we're on the same planet with Brady's agents and him. We think and we really believe that he's the leader of the team and is a pivotal part for us. But these things come down to sometimes things that you can't even understand." I'm not really sure what this means. All I know is if you're Brady Tkachuk, does this not give you a little more bargaining power, knowing that they're not going to give me the captaincy unless I sign a long-term deal, and they want me now to sign a long-term deal? I don't think they're going to give it to Thomas Chabot. It's going to be me. So what do I do?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I guess it depends how much weight you put onto that. I mean, I think most players, certainly if you know you're the outright leader on the team, you want to be the captain, you want to be that go-to guy. But then I question it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a letter, right?
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily represent who you are as a player or a person when it comes to your on-ice performance and your off-ice, I guess leadership in the dressing room and around the guys. So to me, if I'm Brady, I'm not too concerned about risking losing my captaincy over a contract. I think my eye is on the prize and I want to, make what I'm worth. And I think in his case right now, it's pretty simple. I think he's got all the bargaining power. I mean, I think the secret is out. We all know how valuable Brady Tkachuk is for this hockey club. He knows how valuable he is. And his old man is an ex-NHL player and a fantastic player at that, who has a ton of experience. He knows how to talk to his kids and present them with solutions when these little issues arise. So to me, it's simple. I think Brady's in the driver's seat still. Great. If he can sign a long-term deal that he's happy with, that's probably the best case scenario here for him and everybody else involved. But I mean, if he wants a bridge deal, he's going to get it.
Okay, here's the question, and make this quick. Does he get more money than Thomas Chabot? Is he not the better player, so he deserves a bigger contract than $8 million a year?
They're different. No, I don't think so. Really, I don't. I hate the comparison because Thomas Chabot is an absolute workhorse on the back end, and he's a leader. And there's an argument to be made that he might be the captain as well. He's a different type of leader. Brady Tkachuk is an emotional leader. I know that's not the question you're asking me. It's the money. To me, I think they're both incredibly valuable to this team in their own right. And when we talk about dollars, this is out of my realm of expertise. You're the numbers guy, Wally. I just think that you can't tell me that Brady Tkachuk is worth that much more. I think Thomas Chabot's deal was a steal for the team. I do. And I think that, he made that decision, to get that job security at the time when he signed it. It made sense for him. And if he's happy with that, that's great. So there could be an argument to be made there that maybe we got him, at a really good value as far as dollars go, and that Brady's going to be looking for more. But when you're comparing the two players, I don't know that one's worth more than the other.
Okay, I do. It'll be interesting to watch this contract because I think that Brady Tkachuk is going to want to be front end loaded with signing bonuses, which is what most players want. There is no signing bonus money with Thomas Chabot, and that's how the Ottawa Senators want to be. They do not want to pay money up front. So interesting to see how that part plays out. Something to keep an eye on. All right, moving on. Centralized focus. Do the Sens need a number one center? I thought we settled on that Josh Norris was going to be able to carry this team, and now Eugene Melnyk says nope. They need a number one center and a top 4D. We've discussed the top 4D ad nauseum. But then General Manager Pierre Dorian comes out and says, yeah, but we like our top 4D and we don't think we need to add one. So where are we at? Let's start with the center.
I mean, I thought we've had this discussion, and I'm not talking about you and I, Wally, but I mean, just in general, I think most people, I thought all agreed that Josh Norris was the guy. And I mean, quite frankly, these guys aren't a dime a dozen out there. I mean, if you want to go at free agency and find some stud and throw, the checkbook at him, great. That's always an option, but it's incredibly difficult to do. And when you happen to have a guy who's met that criteria already from this year, he's a good two-way guy. I don't have to get into depth again. We all know what Josh Norris brings to the table. He's reliable. I think they're solidified up there. I do agree with going after the top four. And I do know that Pierre probably won't openly say that because you don't want to lose that bargaining power when it comes to finding a guy. And of course, that doesn't necessarily apply to free agency, but it does if you're looking to make a hockey trade. Sure. So I know that, we all know Eugene will say some stuff sometimes, and he's speaking his mind in this case. And I do agree with them as far as going after a top four. I think it's a necessary piece that this team needs. But I mean, the centerman, I think that's all set right now. I think if Pinto comes in and happens to play out of his mind, then you have a great 1-2. You can't rely on Pinto to come in and perform at that level. I don't think that's a tall task for a young player, but quite frankly, these are just the options that we have right now, and they're limited.
And that's the interesting thing is always going to be like if Jack Eichel or some superstar is available and you're going to pay for that. But
Sure.
that's a whole different level. And no one would
Yeah.
argue that he would be a number one center compared to Josh Norris at this
Yeah.
point. All right. Let's move on now to Jettison, and that is the Jets claim game one of their series with Edmonton. They hold Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl off the score sheet. Interesting to note because in the 9 games that McDavid played against Winnipeg, he had at least 2 points every game, 22 points overall. What is it that they were able to do to win game one and shut those 2 guys down?
Winnipeg just played tight. I mean, to me, from what I saw, at least, they just seemed like they were all on the same page. I know it's a very generic comment, but it's especially true when you're playing against a guy like Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. And it was funny. I saw a takeaway where I believe it was Pionk that kind of grabbed him, and someone had tweeted something online that he was getting in his kitchen. And I'm thinking like, well, you're not really going to get in Connor McDavid's kitchen that way, and certainly not Pionk. But what I do like is the way they played defensively. They just seemed all tight. You had good goaltending, and it was just consistent. No one saw this coming. I didn't see this coming. I think based off the stats, and you and I love that number as far as Connor McDavid being able to feast on this hockey club. And I was questioning Winnipeg's defense pretty well for that entire last stretch, thinking after the deadline, boy, I would have loved to have seen them gone out and grabbed a guy, but now I'm wrong. They looked really strong defensively, really nice on transition. They looked like they were controlling the play, and they were frustrating Edmonton at times. So a lot of great takeaways, but honestly, not what I had envisioned. I for sure had my money on Edmonton possibly sweeping the series. So it just goes to show you that I'm not necessarily the best analyst that is out there.
Well, I will say though, I like Connor Hellebuck is in goal, so that gives you an edge, I think, right away. But let's not forget it's game one, and things can change quickly, right? And so we may be talking about game 2 of Connor McDavid having 5 points and all different kinds of different.
The narrative can change quickly. Exactly.
Yeah. So let me quickly add to that is Pionk is obviously trying to either get into his McDavid's kitchen or trying to get him off his game. Does that work with superstars? Like, was that what your job was against Sidney Crosby?
Yes, but there's an argument here, and it's that I think what aggravates the superstars more is the fact that pigeons like you and I, are talking about it and assuming that it's bothering them, right? So if they're paying attention to any random news headline and they see they see a random tweet talking about how a player got in their kitchen that night, that might aggravate them a little bit. In the moment, it's nothing. You just, it's rinse and repeat, go back out there and play. But I think the more it gets discussed, the more it might irritate that player. So, I mean, it's all gamesmanship within the game. And I was trying to get under Sid's skin as well. But I mean, I don't know that even worked. Maybe a little in the regular season. I think I fish hooked him in one game in a scrum, but in the series, or maybe it was an eye gouge, but during the postseason, I mean, it was, it's hard because you can't take bad penalties. Sure, you might be able to grab a guy after a whistle in a scrum, but really, what are you accomplishing? Not a whole lot. To me, it's playing hard, finishing all your checks, being a gnat, like always in their kitchen, always in their face, not giving them any room out there. The theatrics after the whistle don't necessarily always work.
I'll make this one quick, and that is the Washington-Boston series has been fantastic. And all 3 games have gone to overtime, including double overtime last night. Do you think this series, it's 2-1 Boston, do you think it can go either way still? Is it just a typical, this is probably a 7-game type series?
Yes. And I say this only because we're talking about the Washington Capitals. I can't bet against them yet. And I believe I'd have to look at my bracket. I'm pretty sure I had Washington moving forward. So I can't believe I have to think about that. But to me, they're all around a better team, I thought. But the counter argument to that has always been, well, the winning culture, in Boston is something that's just priceless, right? You can't put a number on that. And it's really hard to analyze, but that like unknown X factor that's in the room with some of those players in Marchand, Bergeron, Krejci, it's something that you can't replicate, and you certainly can't buy at the deadline. So again, it's tough to bet on any team in particular right now. I think as far as I go, I'm just enjoying it at face value and taking it game by game. I still like Washington though.
I mean, it's been a great series, and I'm starting to lean more towards Boston. I just get a feeling that Boston just is a different level. I don't know what it is, and I think it's because they've been there, that playoff experience, and those guys. And yes, I know how to win. Washington's won a Stanley Cup, but it feels different with Boston. All right, on to the last one, playoff performer. I don't want you to tell me about that the playoffs are intense. I want you to tell me what it's like as a player and how you adapt differently in the postseason. It can't just be about, well, I skate harder. So give me what it takes to be a hockey player switching from the regular season to the postseason.
Well, I mean, skating harder is always a good thing. So I don't see that as being a bad answer, but it's not interesting, I guess. So no, the postseason is different. And certainly we're all aware of how the temperature gets raised. There's a lot more stress, a lot of pressure on players. And it all starts after your last regular season game. You've got about 4 days to prep. The team will give you a booklet. You've got all your hot takes on each player, their tendencies, players that you need to focus in on. Perhaps play a little more physical on, try to get them off their games. And I'm not talking dirty stuff. I'm talking clean, but I've always said this, it's a war of attrition. You're always slowly pounding down on players, making contact every opportunity you got. And over the course of a couple games, those bumps and bruises start to really become a factor. So for me, in my experiences playing, that was always my approach. I'm going to make sure I finish all my checks, never turn away from a player when you're on your forecheck. If you're a forward, don't turn away from the D-man when they go D to D. Make sure you finish your checks on him. And it's constant pucks to the net, getting lots of traffic, trying to get under the goaltender's skin, get in his way, get in his face. If you're facing a player like Connor McDavid or Alexander Ovechkin, get in their way at any opportunity, get in their way. I don't care if you're a skilled guy, it doesn't matter. And I still remember even guys like Kyle Turris, they would finish their checks on these players. They would get in their way, almost like a gnat, just following them around the ice. And you could kind of see that with as we discussed already with Winnipeg, their approach with Connor McDavid, and it worked. It's just a different game. And the theatrics between the whistles sometimes can play a factor, but you have to be very smart because you certainly don't want to take too many penalties. So there's all kinds of stuff like this that's going on, a lot of gamesmanship because you're facing the same guys every other night. It can get very challenging.
In that Edmonton-Winnipeg game one, 68 hits by the Winnipeg Jets, 118 hits overall total. You know that they're trying to obviously wear it down. Is that become the biggest single change, or is there a defensive mindset where you sacrifice offense just to play that game and try and win 1-0?
Well, yes and no. I think this statement is particularly true if you're playing against a generational talent like Connor McDavid, and we know how dangerous he can be offensively. But I like what you just said there, Wally. The physicality. That is one of the most important things that changes in the postseason because it truly does just wear you down. And I'm talking, it could be the first shift of any given game that I'm playing against in a series, perhaps against Pittsburgh when I was playing in 2017. I might take a hard hit in the corner by a smaller player, but maybe it jams my wrist a little bit or my elbow or my shoulder. And now I'm feeling that for the rest of the series because you don't have an opportunity to recover. So those are all things that are happening. And again, it's just an approach that you have to take. You have to buy in. You have to make life difficult for the Leon Draisaitl's and Connor McDavid's and Alexander Ovechkin's. You have to be hard to play against. And over the course of a long series, it can really pay great dividends.
Interesting stuff. All right, those are the headlines brought to you by BEI, Bonisher Excavating Inc., helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. Check them out at bonisherexcavating.com. Coming up after the break, Roberto Luongo, the Team Canada GM, and Meth. I promise we are not moving anywhere. We will be staying right here. You're watching the Wally and Methot Show. Time now for the chat, quenched by Whitewater Brewing Company. From blonde ales to New England IPAs, Whitewater beer is brewed by friends for friends. Available at the LCBO, licensed grocers, and shopwhitewater.ca, where you enter coupon code Wally and Methot and get 15% off. Must be 19 years of age or older. Please be joined now by, there's no question, you are the hardest working man in hockey, Roberto Luongo. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Okay, if people don't know, you have, your advisor, special advisor to the GM in Florida, Dale Talon. You are now the general manager of the World Championships and the assistant GM to the Olympic team. Can you just take me through the day of Roberto Luongo?
I'm also the director of the goaltending excellence department. You forgot about that one.
It's true. That's right. Sorry.
So yeah, I got a few things on my plate right now, but they're all fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm learning a lot in the last few months, which has been great. It's something that I've been wanting to do. I've been thinking about a lot in the last couple of years of my career. So I'm 2 feet in. I'm enjoying it, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can.
Would you ever coach?
No, coaching is not for me. I don't have enough patience with the players.
All right, fair enough. First we'll start with the World Championships that's coming up here. And that is, the pressure always is under Canada to win, and it doesn't matter what the event is. What's the pressure like as a GM to try and build a World Championship team where you don't have all the best players, a lot of guys still playing in the NHL and all that stuff. So What's it like mentally to build a world championship team?
Well, listen, I think for me it was it's my first crack at it, so mostly it was excitement. As these are the types of things that I like to do. I mean, this is why I wanted to go into management, is to build teams, to assemble. It's like a puzzle, all that kind of stuff. So, obviously it's a bit of a different situation with you don't have access to all the players, but we have a lot of good players in Canada. So that's the one thing that we can rely on. That there's a lot of players that we can go to if circumstances dictate whether they're able to play or not.
And Lou, I just to touch on that, how hard has it been to recruit guys? I don't know how much you can actually divulge right now, but I can only imagine it'd be a bit of a nightmare logistically for a lot of guys to get out there, right?
Well, listen, I mean, it's we all know the circumstances with this season, right? With the COVID, it hasn't been easy on anybody. So some older guys with families and all that kind of stuff, you understand those types of things, but we wanted obviously to put guys in situations where they would be excited to go, and we got a great response in that regards. I think we have a fairly young team with a good mix of veterans, so I'm pretty excited about our club, to be honest with you. We have a good group of guys that are hardworking, fast team, so we'll see how we stack up against the best.
You've added a couple of Ottawa Senators in Nick Paul and Connor Brown. What is it you liked about their games, and how have they evolved over the season?
They've had great seasons, both of them. I think Nick Paul is a guy that works hard. He's a leader on the ice. You could tell that he's one of the guys that other players rally around. Connor's been a goal scoring machine this year, which has been great to see. I think he's got 21 goals, if I'm not mistaken, and the year with 21. So we always like guys that can put the puck in the net. It's not a bad thing.
You don't have Thomas Chabot, which I'm assuming you were hoping for. Obviously disappointed not to perhaps have him as your number one D.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, Shabby's a guy that we targeted early, especially considering he's in the mix for the Olympics. He's one of the guys that we have on our list that we want to keep evaluating. So it would have been nice to have him there, but the circumstances, with that injury towards the end of the year, it was impossible for him to be there.
What's the I guess the update as we ask about the Olympics, and that is there any kind of are you just preparing that there's going to be NHL players? Is it kind of tough that way?
Yeah, I mean, we're going as business as usual. We're preparing as if there will be. So if things change, we'll change our approach. But for right now, we're assuming that we'll be going. So we're having our meetings and we're discussing guys, and we're trying to narrow down a list here.
Okay, we'll move on because I want to get to Florida, and there's been a great turnaround, and I'm going to look at goaltending or even goals against. And tell me about, I guess, the turnaround you've had. You went from 28th last season to 9th this year in goals against average of .270. And you've got a former Ottawa Senator that we all know here, Chris Drieger, but Bobrovsky's played well. And now you have Spencer Knight, who's 4-0 in the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good problem to have, right? So but it's not just the goalies, it's a team thing. I think as a team, we played better. We had more puck possession, so that was takes a little bit of stress off our goaltenders in our own zone, and we haven't been allowing as many slot chances as last year. So all in all, our goalies have played well, but at the same time, I think our team game has been so much better that it helps the goalie. I think it goes hand in hand, right? When the team plays well, it's easier for the goalies, and then when the goalies play well, it makes it easier for the team to do what they got to do.
Did you have any idea Chris Drieger was going to have this kind of season?
I mean, he showed a glimpse of it last year. When he came up, I think I knew how good he was because my brother's been working with him in Springfield the last year and a half, and then he was playing terrific down there. And when he came up last year in the midway through the season, I wasn't sure what to expect, right? Because there's a pretty quick ascension for him to the NHL. But he came out, he was steady every game. His numbers were very similar to the ones he had this year. So it was only a matter of realizing if he could duplicate it again coming into this year. And obviously he showed everybody that he did.
I will say Meth has picked Florida as his dark horse to win the Stanley Cup. I will give him that. And yeah, no, I don't know if the seas have parted here in Ottawa, but what is it that you like about this team and how it's built that's going to, I guess, create waves? Because it's been a very good season for the Florida Panthers.
There's two things that I really love about our team. First, we got a lot of character. We brought in some guys that really changed the character, the leadership in our group, and the way we play. We hold guys accountable. So that really changed the dynamic of our group in general. And the second thing is I think we're fast. We always push the pace. We're dangerous, when we're coming off the rush, and it backs off teams, and we're able to control the game a little bit more because of our speed.
Is there an excitement like when you're in Canada? There's obviously the Leafs and Habs matchup. Is there one for the Tampa and Florida? Like, is Florida pretty excited to see how this is going to play out?
Oh, of course. There's a lot of buzz in the city. We've been able to have fans at our games the whole year. So even though it was only 4,000 or 5,000 per game, there was still excitement, and you could feel how everybody's talking about it. The first time in history that we get to meet our cross-state rivals. So I think there's a lot of excitement in the air, and the fact that we started home is an added bonus for us, and we're really excited to get it started Sunday night.
And there's a little bit of a hate on between those two teams right now. Hey, Lou, like I've just noticed, just based off the highlights and some of the games, are they going to get pretty heated early on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was always a little bit of a rivalry there, but given the fact that we know we're playing each other now, the last two games of the regular season, that was heightened by tenfold. So a lot of fights, a lot of chirping going around, but that's the fun. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it a series. And who knows what it's going to be like Sunday night, but I'm sure that there's going to be, just as intense, if not more. There's a lot more on the line, of course. So, but that's the beauty of the playoffs. It's always so intense, and there's so much involved other than just, who scores more goals. It's almost a mind game with the other team, and who could stay at even keel level and not get too emotional about it.
You entered the year as the third winningest goaltender of all time, and then you saw Marc-Andre Fleury take over third spot. Can you sum up, I guess, the career he's had? Because you know what it takes to get there. You played the second most games in NHL history for a goaltender. That's an incredible feat for all of you to be in that kind of category.
It's amazing. I've just watched him, and he's just so steady year after year. And that's what makes great goaltending is, right? He doesn't have one good year, one bad year. Every year he's there. He plays well. And the thing I love the most about him is it kind of reminded me a little bit of my path as well, minus the Stanley Cups. But the fact that, a couple of times he lost his job and he came back strong. With Pittsburgh, with Murray, he went to Vegas and he came out flying. And last year, they went to Leonard at the beginning of the playoffs, which could have been, the end of him. But no, he came back this year and he's going to be a Vezina finalist. So that's what I admire about him. The fact that he's able to not let that stuff bother him and just keep doing this thing and having a smile on his face and be a good teammate. And it's really remarkable, and I really, respect him for that.
Yeah, you talk about teammates. I've spent some time trying to talk to a couple of your former teammates just to see what I could find about Roberto Luongo.
Yeah.
A couple of things, but I will say, is Jamie McLennan really bad at poker on the plane?
The worst poker player, bar none, that I've ever seen.
He told me that you, I guess, basically kicked him out of playing.
Yeah, I don't know if he told you the story or not, but we were on a flight, and it was probably an hour or two into the trip, and he was getting a little bit antsy, and he didn't want to play anymore. So I had a good hand. I went all in, and because he didn't want to play anymore, he called me with a bad hand, but ended up hitting a river, Miracle River, and took me out. So from that point on, that was his last card game of the year.
It's so good. Are you that intense?
Yeah, I take my stuff seriously. I mean, when I played poker, I read a ton of books. I was really into it, and I really had no time for guys that didn't take it seriously and just called because they wanted to play a hand. So,
also, you've been does your job affect how you tweet now? Your account, I think you get 775,000 followers, whatever, but you're a lot more quiet. Is that because of all the roles you now have?
I don't know. I just, I feel like with my account, when I feel like I tweet something, I do. And there's no set number of tweets, or I got to tweet once a week or once a day, anything like that. I just, even before I was, in management, my account was a little bit slower as far as tweets are concerned, but I try to put out good ones when I do.
Lou, I got to know this because when I played, I think it was back in Columbus when I was still there was always this buzz, like, who's running this account? Who outed you? Like, someone had to give you up, right? Like, so which player that you were playing with outed you?
Well, when it first started, it was only supposed to be for my friends and whatever. And then I think after one game, I think it was Ryan Kessler, he tweeted something about I enjoy long walks on the seawall or something like that along the line. So it kind of caught on a little bit. And then within a couple of weeks, maybe I'm not sure if it was Kevin BX or somebody else tweeted something else. And by that point, everybody kind of figured out it was me. I never really admitted to it, which is the beauty of the whole thing, because I didn't need to confirm it was me. To this day, I'm not even verified, which is the way I want it to be. So there's always a little bit of mystique around it.
Well, Strongbone1 is the account if anybody hasn't followed it. What about Kevin BX as a teammate? Where would he rank on your all-time list?
Oh, he's up there, and I tell you what, with that team with the Canucks, we had some great guys in there. We had the Sedins that were, just wonderful human beings, and Juice and Burrows and those guys. So we had a lot of laughs. I mean, different characters, but I got a handful of guys that I always put as my favorite teammates, and obviously Juice is one of those guys that's up there with them.
When it comes to stay-at-home defensemen, so I'm always trying to see a way to pump mess tires. Are you a big fan of the stay-at-home defenseman in front? Is that your type of guy?
I thought you were going to ask me if Kevin was a stay-at-home defenseman. I was going to stop you right there. Yeah, I mean, you always respect those guys and enjoy them. When I played, my favorite defenseman was Willie Mitchell. He was my favorite player every year. Just steady, cared about the penalty kill. Like, who cares?
Predictable.
Nobody cares about the penalty kill except for him. So I was like, I always loved guys. I always loved to talk about it with him like that. And we played together in Vancouver and then also in Florida. So when he finished up his career there.
When's the last time you played goal?
My last hockey game. I haven't put on the pad since. I've been on the ice a few times, but as a forward, which is my real passion. No, I'm just kidding. But I played as a forward a few times. I haven't really strapped the pads on. I'm actually a little bit scared to do so. My hips and my groins are not in great condition, so I'm actually a little bit worried that if I do, I might hurt myself. I haven't been stretching as much the last couple of years. You know what I mean?
Now, are you a dangler? Like, do you play beer league? Because I used to play against or with Ron Tugnut. When as soon as he took the pads off, he would toe drag everybody, never come off. Are you that type of player?
I'm not a dangler, but I got like elite vision. I'm more of a playmaker, two-way forward. Responsible, good face-off guy. So first guy back, it's that type of player.
Okay. Finally, about Noodles. What's the relationship like? It just seems like you two were the best of buddies that could ever possibly be in a goalie tandem of all time.
Oh, Noodles is the best. I mean, we didn't play together that long. I think it was only maybe a couple years. I don't even remember. He must have played 5 games in 2 years. So I don't remember how many years it was, but he didn't. We just got along great, and he got along with my family in-laws that were down here, and we always kept that relationship. So we still keep in touch regularly. So he's awesome. He's just a nice, kind guy and funny, and we share the same kind of humor. So we get along great.
Is it tough for you to show that type of humor? You always seem to be fairly stoic, but anybody that I ever talked to that's played with you, like, he's the funniest guy we've ever been around. So are you fairly guarded?
Well, I've always been shy by nature, right? I haven't been, especially when I was younger. I think I've opened up a little bit more as I've gotten older. But when I was younger, I was really serious and reserved and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's why I kind of created the Twitter account to begin with, right? Just to show that side of me, because especially when I played in Vancouver, it was tough for me to be that way in front of the camera because I actually tried to do it a couple of times and didn't go over so well. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stick to the basics here and stuff like that. But that's why I kind of created a Twitter account, just to show that side of me.
One of the last questions I have for you is, who's your one player you hated facing as a forward, maybe?
Well, me, it was Bufflin, just because he was always in my crease. I made a poem about him with the Duffy. So you guys can look at it if you want. But yeah, he was always in my face, especially during those playoff series. I remember one game he took the puck to the net through the crease and he landed on top of me, and then he had me in an arm bar, like a UFC arm bar. I was tapping out, but he wasn't letting go. So I don't know what the ref was doing now. But
that's outstanding.
That's awesome.
And I don't want to keep much of your time. I know you got to get going, and you got so much going on. World Championships, you're going to start playing Latvia on Friday. I guess, what is the next step for your team just to try to get everybody there? You got Gerard Gallant as your head coach. Andre Tourney, one of our good friends here in Ottawa, is on the bench as well, or at least he's on the staff. There seems to be just a lot of excitement around the group that you've been able to build.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all, our club's is made. We got all our guys now. Coaching staff's in place. We're taking off this weekend for Latvia. We don't have that much time to get ready. We have to quarantine 2 days when we get there in our rooms. But after that, we have 3 days of practice and away we go. So there's no exhibition games or anything like that this year. So it's going to be important and over the course of the next week to really come together as a group and learn the systems and make sure that everybody's on the same page so that when the puck drops, we just keep building and getting better as a team so that when the elimination games come, we're at our best.
I think you played in 3 Worlds. Can you tell me from a player's perspective? I've always talked to Mark about this, and I've done a few myself, the excitement and what it's like to play in a World Championship. Because if you don't ever really get to go, you can't appreciate the fun that surrounds this kind of event.
Oh, it's a blast. I think, you get to spend 3 weeks, usually in a European country for the most part. You get to explore places that you've never been before and be with a bunch of guys and have fun and play hockey. And also, while you're representing your country, which is the best hockey country in the world. So you can't ask for much more than that. And I remember being young. It's something that I looked forward to, not necessarily missing the playoffs, but, back in the day, that was something that came around almost every year. And I look forward to it.
This has been very special to me because the first time I ever got to interview you was 1999 here in Ottawa at the Memorial Cup. And so it's been a long time, as long as I've got to chat with you, and I appreciate it. You've always been very good to deal with. So Roberto Luongo, good luck with Team Canada at the World Championships, and thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Luke.
All right, that was the chat quenched by Whitewater Brewing Company. Whitewater delivers beer right to your door, and they're offering exclusive savings to Wally Methot listeners. Shop whitewater.ca and use Wally and Methot for a 15% off coupon code. You must be 19 years of age or older. All right, time now for On the Points, brought to you by sportsinteraction.com. Sports Interaction is Canada's odds makers. Head over to sportsinteraction.com/Wally and Methot today. Get in on the action. Must be 19 years or older to play. Okay, Meth, 4 games in the NHL tonight, but really north of the border, it seems like there's only one that's the focus. After 42 years, the Leafs and Abs are going to face off in a playoff series. Let's start with game 1 winner. Who do you pick tonight?
I've got Toronto. You know what? Just based off of what I've seen through their consistent play, I know that them and Montreal both started off at the top of the North at the start of the season, and Montreal trickled off a little bit. They had a lot of injury issues. I know a lot of their guys are going to be back for this series, but I think your X factor here is Carey Price. And is he going to be the old Carey Price that we're all aware of and that we know? I mean, you just don't know. And I think if Toronto just keeps up with their strengths, which is predominantly their offensive ability, I think Montreal's going to be in trouble. So I got to go with my Toronto Maple Leafs.
I'm going to take, and it's seriously, I'm going to take Montreal based on adrenaline alone. I think that they come in, they're playing on house money because no one's expecting them to win a single game. You have Carey Price, who knows how to raise his game to play in playoff games. I don't like Toronto's goaltending, and I haven't for a long time. I don't know that either Jack Campbell or Freddie Anderson can get the job done on a consistent basis. I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to surprise the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight and take game 1.
Yeah, now, and if Montreal is going to take this game, I just wanted to add they need to play greasy. They can't trade chances with Toronto. So, I mean, and I saw some of the lineup changes. I'll be curious. I'm not sure how they're going to go with it. I know that maybe they're going to lean towards veterans, but I mean, it comes down to goal scoring, man, and I just don't think they can keep up.
Okay, but in the playoffs, it doesn't always necessarily end up being about goal scoring. It's about 1-0, 2-1 hockey games. They just need to get one. And if Carey Price stands on his head, then Toronto's down 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, it's a big if. I mean, you're relying on Carey Price, who's been incredibly inconsistent and banged up, to come in and stand on his head. He's fully capable of it. He's a world-class talent. But I mean, that's a tall task against this Toronto team. They're just so deep.
I just think that we're overlooking the fact that you just need to win gritty in the playoffs to try and get ahead. I mean, we've seen it enough. I've covered enough playoff series when they go in going, there's no chance they're going to win. They're going to get swept, and they end up beating them. So look at the Tampa series against Columbus last year, right? Or 2 years ago when they have 62 wins or 60 wins. Anyway, I'm just telling you, I think that there's going to be a surprise in this series. Okay, so tell me your series winner of the Leafs and Habs.
I've got Toronto in 5. I'm not changing on that. Okay. No matter what happens here moving forward with injuries or goaltending, to me, it's a non-issue. I'll give Montreal the benefit only in that apparently if fans now in Quebec are potentially able to get back into that building, we might see them, I believe, in game 6. So if they make it that far, then I'll give them an opportunity, maybe a chance. But right now I got Toronto in 5.
Which is funny because I think you've picked every Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup this season. But I'm going to have to lean towards it and go, the Leafs should win this series. They do have a much more talent lineup. But right now, Montreal they scare me a little. I just think that they've got these young kids. If they ever put Caulfield and Kotkaniemi in the lineup, that might cause some issues with it. Yeah, which doesn't make any sense of why they're not
playing them. Well, I can understand. Okay, well, I can understand this one thing. I can understand Ducharme being reluctant to put in a guy like Romanov in the back end because he's a little bit more streaky in his own zone. And when you're playing against a heavily armed offensive team like Toronto, you don't want to rely on all your skill. I feel like his game plan is very much clear at this point. It's going to be to play very greasy, try to sucker them into some physicality and try to, win those low scoring games. But we'll see. At this point, I don't see it really working out for them, but you never know.
Quickly, who leads this series in points at the end?
I mean, do I just say it and go with Marner, perhaps? Matthews, I know, can score. I like Marner. He can rack up some apples, perhaps. And if they get enough power plays, I feel like he's your no-brainer.
I want it to be Cole Caulfield is what I want it to be. However, we'll have to play that one by ear. I think Mitch Marner he's just so dynamically offensively gifted. I think he ends up with the most points. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how this series plays out, especially in the first couple of games until Toronto, I think, figures out what it needs to do in the postseason. Lots of veterans. They just need to figure out a way to play together under this particular format. Okay. 3 other games going on. We're going to quickly move through these. Tampa and Florida. The series switches back to Tampa. Lightning are up 2-0. Who wins tonight?
And it's funny because a lot of us had Florida, especially myself, as a dark horse, although in my bracket, I have Tampa going forward. But in any case, that's another conversation. I know that the Panthers came into this thing trying to pull, Tampa Bay into the fray with them and perhaps draw lots of penalties, bring that physical play. And I mean, Tampa's matched it so far. And I think at this point now, I think they're going to be proving a little too much offensively. They're just so deep. It's impossible to compete with.
I really like Barkov and the way he's played. I just don't think they've got enough offensively going for it. And Barkov, by the way, have you noticed in front of the net, he's passing up way too many shots?
Yes, agreed. And they're going to have to change all that. But I mean, again, I can't say this enough. I just think you can't go head to head with Tampa and their offensive prowess right now. They're starting trading a chance. We saw a lot of chances being traded in those first 2 games, and it's not going to work out well for Florida if they keep that up.
All right, Pittsburgh, the Islanders, that series knotted at 1. What do you like in this one tonight?
That one is almost, especially game 2. It's like a war of attrition as far as going after each other's goaltenders. I couldn't get over that. And it was so blatantly obvious that there's a bit of gamesmanship going on there. But I don't like that. But I guess as a defenseman, it'd be fun to try to clear guys up and get in those scrums. I still like Pittsburgh. I just think they're with the leadership they have and all the experience and guys like Crosby driving that bus, they're hard to bet against. But this series in particular is incredibly divided for me. I'm still sort of torn. I don't see a real clear-cut winner, but I'm still going to lean a little bit towards Pitt. I just think with their winning history there, they know how to do it.
Yeah, they have Sidney Crosby in the lineup who tries to will everybody to win anyway. I completely understand where you're going with that. I'd probably pick Pittsburgh as well. Okay, finally, Mark Stone, your good friend, and the Vegas Golden Knights tie it up at 1. Now, can they go ahead with the game being back in Minnesota? This Minnesota team gives Vegas fits.
Yeah, and I was surprised. Well, maybe I shouldn't say surprised. I thought Vegas was really going to dominate in this series much more than they have. I thought they came out really slow in game 1. They came out slow again in game 2, but they turned it around in that second period of game 2. And it feels like now they've got a lot of momentum. And Pietrangelo looks like himself. I believe he was +2 in that second game, and he had about 22 minutes of ice. He was a plus player. I think having a Stanley Cup champion like him, who they brought in, finally finding his game. I know he kind of turned it around halfway through that season. He struggled early on, but he's looking like himself. And I feel like that team's going to be incredibly dangerous now moving forward. So I got Vegas.
All right, so here are the picks. Meth likes Toronto, Tampa, Pittsburgh, and Vegas. I will agree on 3 of them. I'm going to say Montreal may surprise the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. Those are the picks. Now let's go make yours. All right, sportsinteraction.com/Wally and Methot. Sports Interaction is Canada's online sports book. Must be 19 or over to play. Odds subject to change. All right, up next, we go from one of the game's all-time great goaltenders to one of the potential future scoring stars in the National Hockey League. Today in the Faces Magazine interview room, we talk with the Belleville Senators' leading scorer, Egor Sokolov, who has a great story to tell. And a reminder to check out the latest edition of Faces Magazine featuring my shutdown partner, Mark Methot, facesmag.ca. Please be joined now by the leading scorer of the Belleville Senators, Egor Sokolov. Welcome to the show, my friend. Happy to have you aboard.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys.
Can you talk about, let's just start in your season. Has it gone better than you expected, where you thought you'd be? How would you assess how things are going right now for you?
I think, yeah, it's definitely probably better than I expected because, it's a new league and, especially with the COVID stuff, like I haven't played a game before February, was like almost a year. So I was last games I was playing against the young kids. They were 18, 19, 17, 16. And here I have to walk in and, have a campus dance and then go play against the guys who have experience playing in NHL and stuff. So I thought it would be really tough, but I think it took me first 4 games. Like we played, considered them as a preseason games against Laval, basically those 4 games where, I just realized how good of hockey that is. And, I have to adjust as quick as possible because we have a shortened season. So, I played those 4 games and I took a lot to learn. We had 11 days off and we didn't play 11 days. And, I did a bunch of videos and, tried to adjust my game and it started paying off, since then, started scoring the goals and having a good game and just try to get better in every aspect of the game.
I was going to say in the last 16, you have 16 points in your last 18 games, 10 goals. You're now tied for, I think, 7th or 8th in scoring with 14 goals overall in the league. What was the biggest adjustment for you between the beginning of the year to where you're at now?
I think how quick I have to make that decision. It's not all about your legs, obviously. It's about your head and how quick you have to make that decision. And especially for me, I'm a shooter too. Like in junior, I would have 3-4 seconds to feel I can release my puck here. It's not even a second, and you have to shoot that as quick as possible. So first 4 games, I had couple chances where I, in junior, I would have walked in and just snipped that easily. But then I shoot that and it's a stick and it's a stick and it's a stick and it's the legs. And I'm like, what's going on? I can't even get a shot on net. So that was, I think it was the biggest adjustment, where it's how quick is the game and how quick you have to think.
Egor, you lost. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. You lost a bunch of weight, right? Is that true? Yeah. So you're what? You were 240 and you went down to 220?
I was last year, by the end of the season, I was 230 actually. It's my second year, I was heavier. So last year after the season, I wasn't in too bad of a shape, but I thought that time off we had, I thought I'd just, get lighter and it's going to help my speed. So, I just trained hard and focused on my dieting and, I knew it was going to pay off. So it did. So I lost maybe 12, 13 pounds over the summer. I'm around 217, 218 right now. Yeah.
So so did you have anybody from the Senators organization help you with the dieting, or was that all on your own?
I was on my own because the draft didn't happen until October, right? And I had time off since March. So nobody was talking to me. Nobody was telling me what to do because, if draft would have happened in June, it would have been way easier for me to know what's going on. And I had to wait, 6-7 months to get just picked and then go from there. But I just took it off all myself and, it paid off. And I'm glad that I did it. I know how to treat my body and what I have to do.
Good for you.
What did Drake Batherson have to say, or did he have much to say about how your off-ice training went?
Well, we usually we train together, right? So I come to Halifax and we train in the same gym and skate together. So he was just always pushing me and telling me just, I looked at him, how he works hard, and I just wanted to do the same thing, right? Because the guy, ripped up AHL in 2 years and now he's an NHL player, solid NHL player, right? So And he was my billet brother back in Cape Breton. So, you know, like he obviously had something to tell me because like I came in and I was 17, couldn't speak English, and he was dragging me everywhere, tried to help me to adjust. So like he always gonna have something to tell me, and he always texted me after the game, like just, you know, like enough even in training camp, he would just text me after scrimmages and just like, you know, say a couple of things like what I could have done and how I played. So he was just pushing me, and you know, he had that little feeling that I might get taken by Sens, and he was telling me that before draft. I was like, no way. And then it happened, and I told him like, how do you know? And he's like, I just had a feeling. Like I just had a feeling.
Egor, I want to know when you stepped off the plane from Russia, because you live in the fourth largest city in Russia, to now you are in Cape Breton, which is a small town on the east coast of Nova Scotia. Did you think like, what have I done?
You know, I'm that kind of person where I think I like when it's smaller. And I think it was a huge bonus for me because everything was around me where I lived, and like the rink was so close and stuff like that. So like I didn't have to go far. And then by the time goes and you get into the games and all that stuff, and people start recognizing you and stuff like that, talking to you, and it's just such a small town where everybody knows each other and stuff like that. So I really got used to it, and I, you know, like now being in Ottawa, it feels for me like so weird. I don't know, like obviously everything is closed and I'm like locked like in prison in my house right now, but you know what I mean? But at the same time, I loved it there. Like it was small, but it was so nice. People were so nice, and I loved it. I really enjoyed. Like I can spend every summer there, to be honest with you.
So I'll just ask you right now, what will you do in the summer as this season winds down here?
Well, so I haven't been home in Russia for over 2 years now. So I got to go see my family. So I'm flying back for a month and a half ish. I got to finish some things like back home, just see my parents, obviously spend some time with them. It's been last time I saw them at the World Juniors last year. So it's been over a year and a half, and just not being able to be home for 2 years too, kind of rough on me. So going back, then spend time with them, month and a half ish, and hopefully able to get to Nova Scotia, start my training, but slowly going to start training in Russia, pace one, and then go Nova Scotia. Well, I got to do quarantine, obviously, but, you know, try to do workouts home and just keep moving and stuff like that. And then do the 2 weeks and get back to training.
So have you been invited into the Sidney Crosby, Brad Marchand, Nathan McKinnon group with Drake?
I don't know yet. I hope so. I hope Drake puts a good word for me. So hopefully he does. I wouldn't mind skating with those guys. That's for sure.
I think how great would that be for your summer to be able to compete with those guys, NHL MVPs and All-Stars?
Oh, that would be incredible. I think it's a dream, obviously, you know, to seeing those guys on TV and watching them like playing in playoffs right now. And just to be able to step on the ice with them would be just unbelievable. And just, you know, it's just going to just keep motivating me to get better. So I'm able to skate with them and compete against them and see where I'm at and how they do it and what they do on the ice, how they taking care of themselves and how hard they're working. I think it's a lot of learning from those guys for sure.
I have so many questions for you, so I'm trying to get through these. And I like how
you
miserable.
I have a day off. You can talk to me all day. Actually, killing time at least.
So like, how difficult or how miserable was? And you tell me how long it was. Like the first couple of months. If you don't know how to speak a language, like I've been to Russia and Meth has been there, and I've been to Belarus. I've been to Ufa, which isn't so far from you. No. Like it's a different world. So you're coming here as a 17-year-old. I can't even fathom of what that's like, because it's not like you can go hang out with your buddies to get away from it. So can you explain just how, like, does it affect the way you play the game when you are first trying to start in a new country?
I think it does, because, you know, you don't understand coaches, right? Like they speak in English. They're not going to bring the translator for you just for you to come in the meeting and tell you, yeah, well, here we go. Here is our game plan. Translate that to you, Egor, obviously. So, but I thought for me, that was a key that I had a great billet family and I had Drake around me. So that just made me feel comfortable, obviously, like, you know, struggling through translator, texting and translator. And then just right now, like I'm telling you, like me and my billet mom just laughing about what I was texting to her. Like the words I was writing there are messed up. Like, I can't believe I sent those texts to her. Like that was just miserable what was sending that. So I thought it's just like how comfortable the billet family makes you. Like, I think it's a key for most of the guys who come on over. Like, because it's like, you know what I mean? Like the guys who play from Canada and their parents coming to see them every weekend, but my parents can't just take a plane, fly 24 hours every weekend. Yeah. So for me, it was a second home, obviously. So I think that was the key for me, but it was difficult to start, but I made it work. And, you know, I'm thankful that, you know, that Bill family took me and Drake was there, and it was just a great time.
Did they save those text messages? And can you tell me something that was in them?
So I was texting her while I was flying to Toronto. I was flying through Toronto, right? So I just sent her a message like, I'm Toronto, just I'm Toronto. And it's just like nothing else. Like it's just I'm Toronto and the Canadian flag, and like something like, I think it was something about like her leaving a breakfast, and I was just like, I don't even know what word was that said. Like I want to like oatmeal for breakfast. I don't know what kind of word was that. I need to go through that again, and I'm gonna send it to you maybe after we're done. But you're gonna laugh at that too. Definitely the I'm Toronto is the best part. I think it was just I'm Toronto. That's nothing else.
It's so awesome.
And the funniest part that was like she made me feel so comfortable. She was like, I was just pretending I understand everything you said, but I didn't understand a word. So I was like, glad you did.
They do sound like special people, and I'm going to get them to 1 second. First thing though, how long did it take you to learn all the bad English words?
I think I knew all the bad words already back home in Russia, to be honest. I think everybody knows the key words.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, yeah. Your billet family, they are phenomenal people. They took in Drake, and then you come in as well. They own a grocery store, which you helped deliver groceries during the pandemic. Can you explain, I guess, the relationship that you've been able to build with these people now, who aren't just people that gave you a house? They became part of your family.
Oh, I think it's just, you know, they're like, I don't even call them like my billet family. I call them as a family right now because, you know, just the thing they've done to me to let me stay over the pandemic time at their place and take care of me and help me. So at that time, I just wanted to find a way to give back to them and give back to Cape Breton as a community, what they've done to me for the past 3 years, right? So I was like, we got to do something because they own the grocery store. So, and we sit down with the billet mom and we talked about what we can do. So, and she came up with the idea where she's going to make a Facebook page, and she knows so many people around Cape Breton, whereas she knows the people who has the kids and their immune system is not great, right? So they couldn't literally like leave the house because it was too scary to even go to the grocery store. So, and we just decided to do that. And I thought it was just a great idea for me to do and kill time right after I work out. And, you know, for me, it's just to always give back, right? Like people do something for me, I have to do something back. And, you know, for like my billet family, like I just can't thank them enough. It's, you know, we just build a relationship for the rest of their life. And, you know, I always going to call the Cape Breton my second house, and I always going to come for a visit, and we're going to spend lots of time together.
What's your favorite thing to do in Cape Breton?
My favorite thing to do in Cape Breton. You got me on that question, actually. I think my favorite thing was to go to the movies on Tuesday night for cheap night. I think that was the most the best part of the week. Well, besides games, obviously, but going to cheap night movies with the boys was I think the best thing.
You guys playing video games or anything?
Yeah, video games is a thing too, but it's not as fun.
Oh, you're not. Yeah, I know. Well, that's, and a lot of people don't understand when you're playing in junior, there's not really a whole lot you can do, right? Like you're sitting at home, you're not really making any money. All you're doing is playing hockey, maybe going to school, maybe going to cheap movie night, but otherwise it's just the same thing, right? So
yeah, it's the same thing.
It gets challenging. Yeah.
Is there like anything in particular? Like when Anton Volchenkov, who played for the Ottawa Senators, came over from Russia, he didn't understand English as well, but he watched movies every night just to try and learn the English language. Was there something that you tried to do other than, I guess, take English lessons that would help you learn?
Yeah, I actually did watch, like sometimes like at nighttime, I would just sit down with the billets and they're going to throw the movie on. I'm just going to pretend that I understand it, but I just try to get into it, at least couple words at the time, couple more words and stuff like that. Yeah, and I went to the movies with the boys even at the start. Like Drake just dragged me to that. He's like, "Yeah, you're going. Like you have no other option. Like I'm not letting you see it home." Like, So he just took me, and I'm just sitting there. My hand is in popcorn, and I just pretend that I'm understanding something, but I have no idea what's going on whatsoever. But I try to understand it at least. I think that helped as well.
What food do you miss the most from Russia?
I think our soup. You ever heard of borscht?
Oh yeah.
That's the best thing.
Like, would you ever get a care package sent over to you or anything
from Russia?
Yeah. Did you ever get snacks or stuff sent over to you?
No, we actually have in Ottawa, we have a Russian store, and we went there, bought a couple of things, but I'm going back home already in a week. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to buy way too many things, but bought a couple of things, just like felt really weird to walk in and see all the things like I haven't seen in 2 years. Right. But here's people who is from Russia working there, and they have all the Russian stuff. So it was pretty fun, but I usually I never ask for anything from back home because I don't know, like I knew that at some point I'm going to go back, and I didn't know like I'm going to get stuck for 2 years. Right. So,
so is there one thing in North America or in Canada that's a food that you just absolutely love?
That I absolutely love? I don't know, to be honest. I think I eat everything.
Have you had poutine?
Yes, I did, but it's not a great food for you. So
no, it's not after trying to lose all that weight too, right? It's
no, exactly. Sometimes you got to treat yourself, right? But I don't think it's something I would go for.
I love a good poutine. All right. We'll get to your draft. And can you, I know this one probably, like, I'm assuming the draft stings for you up until this year when you get passed over twice. You go to Columbus, try to, as I guess almost on a tryout basis, hoping to get something. Like, when you got drafted, can you explain the euphoria or how you felt of what that moment was like?
I felt just great. That's the first thing I thought about, that all the hard work, everything I've done just paid off at that moment. And then I was just thankful for everybody who supported me along the way, who just stick with me and who just helped me and support me in my up and downs. Obviously my family, my billet family, the coaches and everybody, so my buddies. And then I just knew that's the first step when, the hard work you put in is paying off, right? So now obviously this is over. So next thing I have a camp and then all that stuff. So I thought it was a great relief, right? So I think it's why we're like in hockey, like when you work for something and you get it, you feel great that, the hard work you put in, it paid off. So I think that was the big thing.
Do you feel like you owe it to Ottawa to show them how good you are just because they took a chance on you, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thankful that they took me, and obviously, I'm not just going to be one of those guys who everybody, nobody probably expected a 20-year-old get picked in the second round, right? So I think I have lots to show and lots to prove to people. So, I'm just, taking it day by day, game by game. And now, year almost done. And I'm going to have an exit meeting with the coaches and see what they tell me, what I have to work on, and, come back and even, better player next camp and show it to Sens camp what I can do. And we'll go from there.
So Egor, when you're on so I know from experience, when you're on a two-way deal, it can be difficult to break into the NHL, right? I know numbers always play into it, and the guys on the one-way deals typically get more looks, because teams are going to cater to them a little more. How much pressure are you putting on yourself next year? Obviously, you're finishing off with a fantastic year behind your belt. What's your approach now going into next year's camp? Like, I'm guessing you're going to feel like you have to be lights out to get a spot on this team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I agree with you. Obviously, the guys who signed the one-way deals have a better look at, right? But at the same time, you see how many guys, this year from Ottawa, like Drake and Josh Norris, and obviously Brady and Tim, like they all, two-way deals, obviously. And Drake was a 4th-round pick as well, right? So you see at him, he got a look in his first year. I mean, he got a look at the first year. He played another 20-something game in the second year, and as a third-year guy, he walks in and he just claims the spot, right? So I think that's obviously, just coming into the camp and have a right mentality, just what I can do and what I can show, not to try to be a different player. Like, if everybody knows, like, I can shoot the puck, like, I'm not gonna, try to, like, I don't obviously work hard and all that stuff, but I'm not gonna be that type of player, right? So I'm not gonna try to change myself. So I think that's the most important part. And then have a great off season, like I said before, talk to the coaches, what I have to work on and what I have to do. And then talk to the strength coach, how is my off season training is going to look like, and just, come back here with the right mindset and see where it goes.
Yep.
How did you get your release of your shot to be world-class?
I think, you know what? I think I wish I didn't work on that as much back home. I worked on my skating a little bit, because past 2-3 years, everybody talks about my skating, right? So everybody talks about my shot in a positive way, but everybody talks negative about my skating. So I think it was just like something I was doing back home then. Like when I was like 10, 11, my release was already pretty nice, because like my dad would make me shoot like 500, 600 shots a day, just for fun of it. And I just, just took it every day basically. And just kept on getting better and better. And, I'm happy where it's at right now. And, I just want to continue to work on it, because, dream is playing in NHL, and it's going to be less time in the AHL to release that puck. So have to work on that.
So where did you practice those shots? Is it the basements, the backyard, driveway? Are they pucks? Are they balls? Give me the setup.
Yeah, we had a place where you just go, like, I'd say, like, it's like an off-season like spot for guys, like training areas, and they had a net and stuff like that. So like sometimes I would go in there for, like, I don't know, just some kind of workout, right? Sometimes I'm just gonna go for shooting. Sometimes, those things where they put like a thing on you, it's a fake ice, and it's you skating on the fake ice and stuff like that. Sometimes I would come
treadmill.
So that would be that place where twice a week I would come there and just shoot like around like 500, 600 pucks and work with the metal puck and all that stuff. And my wrist kept getting stronger and stronger with that, and shooting to like 500, 600 shot at some point is going to get better, right?
Yeah.
So that was the thing.
Okay. Now you talked about your skating. I just watched some highlights over from the weekend when you guys are tearing it up in Belleville. I don't see a problem with your skating. I think your wheels look pretty good when you took the puck and went end to end nearly. Like, are we talking too much about your skating? Is it like, I think that you're probably pretty good skater based on the highlights that we've seen here.
I will just say, like, I knew that my skating was a concern 1 year ago when I got passed over, 2 years ago when I got passed over, but past 2.5 summers when I started training in Halifax, it's the only thing I've been working on consistently. Like, it's just been that skating, right? So that was my main focus. So, at some point it should pay off. And I thought this year, like talking to even to Troy, like the head coach of Belleville, and he always tells me, I think your skating is underrated. I think people don't realize, like, because you're a big guy and everybody thinks you're smooth and slow, but at the same time you're catching up to the guys and all that stuff, right? Well, it's probably how it works. Like, I'm 6'4" guy, 220 pounds, and could be a guy 5'9", and if he's 170 pounds, he's gonna look faster, right? Yep. Like, his feet are gonna look like they're moving faster. So, but I think it's just the way I've been working on it, and like the training off the ice and training on the ice and skating and working on that paid off. And, it's always going to be a concern for me because I'm a big guy and I have to get better at that. But I don't think it's that a big of an issue, but like everybody talks about.
What's your season like with Troy Mann as the head coach of the Belleville Senators? Sorry.
Oh, it's been great. Like, he's just been great. And, he just, has lots of meetings with me, talks to me. And I think I'm just thankful for opportunity he gives it to me, like playing on power play, playing the top line minutes. And, it just makes me feel more comfortable and just more confident with the puck. And I just think he's done with the great job with every guy here. Like, we have so many young guys right now, like first year guys. And I think everybody, like, over the year got so much better and everybody's more confident now. So I think Troy just doing an unbelievable job in Belleville. Like, you see guys like Josh Norris again, Formanton and Batterson and Brandstrom now, and they all, played last year in the NHL full season. They had a great team, and now they're up in NHL.
Why is that? What is it that he does that is able to develop these players so well?
I think it's just the way he's pushing us. Like he just pushes us all the time, and he talks to us, and he tries to find that middle point where we all comfortable with, right? Like he just like he has a lot. We have a lot of video we do lots of video, and like we learn from that. Like, and then like we have the individual meetings and all that stuff. He talks to you once a week, two times a week, where he's gonna tell you how you look on the ice, what you can do better. Like, and it's just like the way he does his job, and he loves winning. So that's another part. If you want to win, you got to get better, right? We started 2-8, right? And right now we have a chance to break the franchise record. We got 7 wins in a row, and we tied it yesterday, right? Yeah. So like I think that's a pretty good accomplishment, right? Like if you're going to ask me 2-8 start and finishing the season with 7-0 now and 2 more games against Marlies, hopefully we get both of those and finish off at 9-0 would be crazy for me.
And so what's a successful year for you? Has it already been successful? Is there anything else that you need to do in your game to say that you had a great season?
I think it's just those last 2 games. I have to play how I played my last games. Just keep focusing on defensive game. And I think if I do right things on the ice, where, taking care of the zone, and, I obviously gonna be able to create something in offensive zone, but less time I spend in D zone and try to like get the puck away from the guys, more time and spend in offensive zone and try to create chances. And obviously it's not all about scoring. Obviously scoring is always, great feeling. But I think it's like, as long as you're taking care of the D zone and stuff like that, your points are going to come if you're an offensive player, right? So it's just, like just keep getting better defensively, just keep shooting on those details, and keep kicking it, and, finish the season strong. Obviously it will be nice to, we win those 2 games and have a pretty good status going into the off season.
I feel like the AHL, I played 3 years in the A before I finally made the jump. I feel like you get to a point where the game just starts to get a little easy for you. You know what I mean? Like where you're very comfortable. You're almost excited to get in all the games because it's fun. Like it's just, it gets easier. And for me, when it got to that point, that's when I knew I was ready to make that jump. I was ready, and I was finished with the American League. Do you feel like you're at that point now where, you're like, okay, I needed more of a challenge now. I'm ready to make the step?
No, I think it's still, I mean, I only played 33 games in NHL. It's not even a full season, right? It's not even a half a full season. Yep. So, obviously seeing the same teams it's been weird. At the same time, you realize like you've been seeing the same teams and they know what you're going to do, right? And so like, maybe playing against different teams, I would have had more goals, more assists, and all that stuff, right? Because some teams are just like they know what you're gonna do. Like you play Laval 11 times, you play Marlies 10 times, right? So I think I still have not a lot of things obviously to do, but still some things to do, some things to prove when I'm ready to make that jump. And I think all my life I've been just doing everything step by step. Like going to junior and playing off all 3 years and stuff like that, not rushing myself, go back. After second year, when I got passed over to draft, not trying to go back to KHL and make money, I knew that I have to, if I didn't get drafted, I wasn't good enough in junior. So I have to prove that I can, like rip it up and stuff like that. So I've done that in my last year in the Q. So then I realized, here we go, Q got easy. Now I have to move on this level. And right now I feel more comfortable. Obviously, 35 games, if we played 76, probably would be at a different point right now. I would have maybe told you that I'm ready, but I think it's still some things to do and still some things to improve.
A couple of quick questions before we go. One is, we always ask this question. That is, if you were, Matt doesn't like my question. If you were sitting at home watching a movie and it's a cheat snack night, what is the snack you're going to eat to watch the movie?
Cheat night snack. I watched the movie.
We won't tell Chris Schwartz, who's the strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, don't tell him.
Dairy Queen ice cream. That's good. That's a good.
Cut it out.
Is it a sundae? Is it a chocolate sundae? What is it?
No, it's a peanut butter blizzard.
No, that's specific. I like that.
All
he knows
day,
what he wants.
all day. Or maybe a milkshake from Five Guys between those two.
Oh, those are dynamite. Those are so good.
It's pretty tight right there.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
finally, one of the things is you got to play this year in Ottawa, which I mean, it's a completely odd season, obviously, and no playoffs. If you don't make the Senators next year, you're going to go to Belleville. Are you looking forward to your third move here in 3 years to a different city?
Yeah, we actually, when we were driving to Toronto, we stopped at the rink, and the coaches wanted to show the first year guys like how the rink looks, and I thought it was great setup for AHL team.
It is.
I thought it was really nice, the gym and the dressing room, and so I'm actually really looking forward to it, because this year in Ottawa, obviously, like, it's great that we're playing at CDC, but most practices have been at the practice ring where we don't have lounge. We're working out at the Brook Street Hotel and all that kind of stuff, right? So we have to go to hotel, then go to the practice ring, and then you kind of can't really cool down after, because there's no lounge, no gym, and all that stuff. So I think, I'm obviously happy that we able to play anyways, right? So, but, I'm looking forward to go to Belleville, and because it's a great setup there, and I loved it, and just looking forward to hopefully have fans next year.
Are you guys practicing at the Sensplex? Is that where you're skating?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you were there. Were you guys practicing there a little in the winter too, when it was cold?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so I practiced there lots when I was playing with the Sens. It was an absolute nightmare. My feet, my toes were like icicles, and I would wear turtleneck. I would wear a turtleneck, like an Alexei Yashin turtleneck on the ice. Incredible. So I think it'll be a nice transition for you guys to get out of that area and back into Belleville.
Seriously though, you put the gloves on before practice and you touch your stick, and it's just like every shot you take.
It hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah, I know. Well, we can agree on that, my friend.
You guys are soft. Who's your favorite player growing up?
Jaromir Jagr, hands down.
Ooh, good pick. Good pick.
Yeah, he's classic. All right, we don't want to take any more of your time. Egor Sokolov, we appreciate you stopping by. We wish you all the best in the offseason, and of course, next year. We hope to see you in Ottawa playing as a member of the Ottawa Senators here in the very near future, my friend. Take care. Have a great summer.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Igor.
Okay, there goes Egor Sokolov in the Faces interview, brought to you by facesmag.ca. Don't forget to check out the latest edition of Faces magazine, which has lots of great people on it. I don't know who the main guy is, but there's like a Brent Wallace and like Megan Shaka and Gord Wilson and everybody else. So it's really good. We'll figure out who the cover boy is at a later date. All right, Craig, here we are. Welcome back. It is trivial trivia time, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got another Gongshow Sauce Off game to award today. So if you rewind back to our last show with Chris Weidman, we had asked which goalie did Chris Weidman score his first NHL goal on? And so answer, obviously, and a bunch of people got it right, which is pretty cool. Cam Ward. Meth, do you remember that game? Do you remember Wide's first goal?
I mean, no, I barely remember my first goal, so I'll leave it at that. I'm sure Wides would tell me all about it if I asked him. So here we are.
Perfect. So anyway, shout outs to @Matt19 for getting that one correctly. You just scored yourself a Gongshow Sauce Off game. Perfect for backyards, parking lots, whatever you need with your buddies this week over the summer here. And also a reminder too, if you're in need of a new Gongshow hat, check out their website, gongshow.com. They got over 70 different styles to choose from, and they are all pretty sweet. So if you're looking to update your lid game for the summer.
I was thinking of the trivia question of being spell the city where Wides played in Russia, but then I didn't know if I could get you to pronounce it properly, so I left it out.
Meth kind of got it in the interview.
I know. It shocked me.
Well, I was doing my homework. That's why. Otherwise, I would have bombed it. So here, it's all part. I'm learning from Wally here. I'm actually trying to prep before the shows a little bit.
Nice.
I like
Good
it.
for you,
Well,
Grasshopper.
I was going to say, Wally's learning a little bit from you here with the beard coming in. We got to talk about this at some point, and I figure it's biting now. Wally, are you growing a beard?
No,
I've never seen this before.
So here, and it's true. It's never been this long on a television camera before. We weren't allowed to have facial hair. You either had to be a full beard or you had nothing. So, and we weren't, at the time, I wasn't one of the Movember participants. Later, we were allowed to do it. But point is, we do interviews now days leading up to the show.
Uh-huh.
And so for Luongo, I had already not shaven. And I'm like, well, do I shave when we do the show or not? So then I had to let it grow. And then there was Egor Sokolov. So after today's show, I am shaving it back down. and it'll be clean cut from here on.
Let it go. I want to
I-
see you grow it. Let it
I mean,
go.
this is a playoff. You're talking about a playoff beer, right? You
Yeah.
started growing it
Yeah.
at the beginning of the playoffs. I think you should run it out. But anyways,
I just think it looks like hell is what it does.
it'll have its phases, right? It'll look good, then it'll look bad, then it'll look good. And that's kind of how beards work. So
But I
I'd
can't
like to
stop
see it.
touching it. And so I got it. I don't know. All right, we'll see.
okay,
No promises, okay?
Yeah, all right. I just figured we should probably talk about this at some point because people are noticing that all of a sudden Brent's getting a little grizzly on the beard. So anyway, I like it. I think it looks good.
Just let myself go.
Anyways, okay. Well, hey, why don't we give away some more stuff today? So we have a new sponsor sliding in today, Bonesaw hot sauce. Have you guys tried? They sent us some stuff. Have you guys tried it?
Oh yeah. They had
It's good.
their final boss. My
haven't
wife
touched that one
decided to
yet.
go right. She went right for the hottest one that we were given,
Yeah.
and I had a thimble of it on my tongue, and it was on fire for like 20 minutes. So
I haven't. Yeah,
I think
I
you
haven't
got
tried
to
that
work
one
your way up. Yeah, you got to work your way
yet.
up.
Final boss. I think that's why they call it that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that was supposed to be left for the end. Yeah, pretty tasty, and they make some good stuff. So
Awesome.
Bonesaw hot sauce. Hot sauce that cuts to the bone. Get your locally made hot sauce at bonesauceco.com. Today, we're giving away a hot sauce prize pack. And if you can get the answer to this question correctly, you will be entered into a draw for it. And the question is, who is Egor Sokolov's favorite hockey player? So contest closes on Saturday, May 22nd at midnight. And we're going to reveal the answer on our next show. So head on over to Twitter and use the hashtag Wally and Methot to give us your answer. Yeah, boys. So that was another pretty solid show. I'm actually going to go dip into some of this hot sauce shortly. I think now too. You got me Jones
Just
for
wa-
a little bit. I'll try that.
Wash it down with a whitewater beer because I like just the thought of my eyes watering with hot sauce. I don't know if I can. I can't do it.
Yeah, I like where our sponsors
that's-
are going too.
and that's
Beer
the
and
mild.
hot sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna-
there.
Yeah.
Next up will be obviously we'll need to have something to drink and we'll need another snack of some sort, maybe ice cream.
Perfect.
Anyway, if you like our show, click like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Also, you can find us on all the podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, and many others that host podcasts. Again, thanks to all our sponsors, BEI and Whitewater Beer. Of course, don't forget the 15% off coupon, Faces Magazine, Sports Interaction, Gongshow.com, and our new one, Bonesaw Sauce. Guys, have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday. And we have a huge guest lined up for that show. So we'll tell you all about it leading up to Monday. Take care, everybody.
Hey,
You're
guys.
watching the Wally and Methot show. I saved a chipmunk yesterday from a vicious fight, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Very sweet.
Yeah. Took him in the house, washed him off. Yeah. Anyway, it's a long
That's
story.
awesome. Good for you. Wait, you took him in the house?
So yesterday, I'm crossing the street from the park just to come to the house from the mail, and a chipmunk runs across the street at me and is at my foot, and I think he's about to attack me. And he's tiny. And then he takes a jab at my toes, and then I'm like, okay, whatever. But he doesn't really bite me. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna walk away. He follows me, so I now is sitting on the grass, and he's on my hand, and he's up my back, and I try to hold him and put him in the grass, and he.
I love how just how you're glossing over the fact that this thing was all over you. Wait, what? Like what?
Yeah. So he's still on me, and I put him. He's trying to get between. I'm sitting like cross-legged, and he's in between my legs. He's trying to hide. He needs like shelter. Anyway, after a while, he leaves. My daughter brings out a bowl of water for him, and so I'm holding him while he drinks this water. Anyway, later in the night, I'm in the backyard. I can hear these. We always hear chipmunks and squirrels in the backyard, but also I hear like the scruffling, and then I hear a thump, and then I see two chipmunks running up the tree, and one of them is behind the other one, biting at the guy. And I'm like, "Is that my chipmunk?" So I get up, and by this time now they've fallen back for like a 6-foot fall onto the ground, and they're going at it. And so I walk over, and the other chipmunk takes off, and this little chipmunk just rolls over. And I think, I'm like, God, he's dead. So I pick him up, and he's got blood pouring out of him. So I carry him in the house, and I'm at the sink washing him off, and then I take him outside, and he stayed in the flower bed all night.
Am I the only one who thinks this story is just insane, or?
Yeah, I'm still trying to piece it together.
So, by the way, not the same chipmunk. because I have
Okay,
pictures of
all
both
right.
chipmunks. Yeah.
Jesus.
Anyway, I went out this
All
morning.
right.
He's not there this morning.
Okay. Well, that's good. Unless a
I
bird
think-
came by and just
Yeah.
sniped it, like an
He was
owl
hiding
or
in the chives, so I don't know. I think he's anyway.